Hello and welcome to another episode here at Larry's Orchids. Today we're going to be doing a repotting video on how to repot your Cattleya Alliance orchids. This is going to be great for the beginner, but if you're also an experienced orchid grower, you can still tune in and hopefully you'll learn something new as well. So I'm going to bring you all in close to see the materials you're going to need and also some different tricks to identifying the growing position of your Cattleya orchid, because as you may know, there are back bulbs and front bulbs, and so you want to find the direction in which the bulb is growing so that you can offer more space for that to fill out. So we're going to do that, and then we're also going to cover the mix that you're going to be using and just some basic repotting tips and tricks to help you out. All right, coming in close, guys, you're going to like this. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look at your orchids here. So we have two finished orchids. This is what they're going to look like when they're finished. Very beautiful specimens. And you're going to want to find the front bulb, because that's the direction you want to give the most space to grow. So there are two different specimens here, and there's kind of a trick that I want to show you all. And this is the height difference. The back bulbs, as you can see, this back bulb here was the first parent plant. And as you can see, as it grows forward, it gets taller. So the front bulb is going to be the tallest bulb generally. But in the case sometimes you have lots of bulbs that are all the same height. And for an experienced orchid grower, you're going to be able to tell obviously which bulb is the oldest one. But for the new beginners that are just getting one that looks like this that needs to be repotted, there's really no good way to tell. So the best thing that I can recommend is just to pot it right in the middle, because if you don't know yet, you don't know which way to give it the most space. So if you put it right in the center, you can then find out later which direction it's going. It's not going to hurt it one bit. So also another thing that we're going to briefly touch on is the roots. These are considered air roots, and aerial roots you want to leave in the air. So any roots that are hanging over the pot, such as this one that we're going to be repotting, you can see a lot of beautiful aerial roots over here. These you do not want to put back in the growing medium, just because of the fact that they are already growing as aerial roots, and you're going to have lots of roots in the growing medium for you to transplant. So the first thing you're going to need is obviously a bigger pot. This is a 6-inch pot, and the growing medium that we're going to be using is just some of this mix here. It is just a bark mixed with some perlite and vermiculite. So it's a very loose mix. It does not have a whole lot of small chunks. It's rather coarse and chunky. So you want that, but you don't want it to be too fine, because you want it to be able to drain freely. Otherwise it's going to hold on to too much moisture, and that's not good for the roots. So then you're going to take your pot, and the first thing you're going to realize is that you don't want to, if you see roots coming out the bottom here, there's a few coming out, you don't want to clip those roots. You don't want to snip those at all, and you don't want to try to save the pot. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a pair of scissors. In this case, we have a pair of snippers here to get through this nice thick pot, and we're just going to snip this pot right off. All right, and then all you're going to do is just separate this, just rip it out, and as you can see, there's the pot. Just kind of fans open like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at the bottom of the orchid here, and you want to fan these roots out to get the growing medium out. You don't want to leave any old growing medium in here. So we're going to fan them out and just kind of tickle your fingers like this, like I'm doing, and it will drop the growing medium out. Sometimes you can give it a little shake, and you'll notice that the roots create kind of a kind of a goblet in the center. There's no roots right in the center. That's going to be crucial when you're repotting, to remember to fill that in with some growing medium, because you don't like air gaps. Air gaps are not good for epiphytes. So you want to take your growing medium and just put about an inch or two in the bottom of your pot here. Maybe a little bit more would be good. Kind of shake it down to settle it, because like I said, air gaps are not good. Then you want to take your orchid and position it down like this, so you can put some growing medium in the kind of center there. If some falls out, don't worry about it, just so you have that gap kind of filled there. and you can see that we have them filled. Also, another tip is definitely wear some gloves if you're a beginner and you do not have seasoned hands. I still don't like getting the little bits of wood and the slivers in my skin because they're definitely uncomfortable. So that's just a little tip. So all we're going to do is we're going to set the orchid down in here, and obviously it's growing this direction. So we're going to push the orchid towards the other side of the pot there, so there's plenty of room for this to grow. And then you're going to just take the roots, because you want these air roots to stay out of the growing medium. And we're just going to take the bark and stuff it down. Don't be afraid to pack it. You definitely want them to be nice and tight. You don't want this to be jiggling around at all. And then just take your fingers and just work the growing medium down. It's going to take a little bit because you can't just load it in there. You got to put a little bit in and then jab it down. Now in a pot like this, you're going to have about 2 years before you're going to need to repot it again. And this is going to be a beautiful specimen. You can enjoy this one for a while without having to repot it. And then all you have to do is just make sure, give it a little twist. You're going to still want a little bit of growing medium, even on the edge that you pushed that has the back bulb. You're still going to want to put some growing medium back here because those are still air gaps that you want to fill up there. All right, and that is it. All right, that just about does it for this episode on how to repot your Cattleya Alliance orchids. If you enjoyed this episode, please click the subscribe button. That always helps. Or if you have some friends that are into growing orchids, definitely share this episode. I think they'll love it as well. And all the materials you have seen can be found on our store at larrysorchids.com, or in the description box below. We always have links, and on our homepage we have a link as well. So until next episode, this is Luke from Larry's Orchids reminding you that we are the one-stop shop for all your orchid and tropical needs. All right, take care guys. Bye.